Mark, things are winding down here. Has it sunk in yet that this is it?
It has. This last week at home, being at Yankee Stadium and driving to the ballpark every day, it's definitely sunk in. And, it's been a good week so far. It's been pretty special from a personal standpoint and, just trying to enjoy it.
You say driving to the ballpark every day. What type of thoughts go through your mind as you drive in every day, knowing that number of games that you have are winding down?
Yeah, I've been making the same drive for 8 years, and depending on the traffic, it's a little different every day, but it's still basically, the same drive. And I just been thinking about all the different memories I've had, and times you go to the park where you're really excited, times where you go to the park where it's raining and you're like, man, I need to rest. I'd like the game to get canceled today. Times you go to the park where you're going to face a tough pitcher and you're like, man, how am I going to attack this guy today? So there's so many different things that go through your mind during a career, and it all just kind of comes together in this last week.
Can you believe it's been 8 years here in New York?
It's gone by so quickly. I can't believe it. The days are long, but the years are short. The years go by really quick. But the season's a grind, and any baseball player will tell you that at the end of the season, you're exhausted, you're tired, you want some time off, but by spring training, you're ready to go again. And I think that's what makes the years go by so quickly is you're always looking forward to next year. You're always looking forward to the opportunity of a new season.
You mentioned memories, and I would have to think one that sticks out is 2009 World Series team. From that season, what moments will you cherish the most? What will you remember the most from that season?
Yeah, I think from a personal standpoint, I'll always remember Johnny Damon and I hit back-to-back home runs to beat the Red Sox. The pop-up against the Mets in the Subway Series, clinching the division. The first time with the Yankees and clinching that division against the Red Sox. And then the World Series run. That playoff run was pretty special, and the Canyon of Heroes finishing it off was something I'll never forget.
The expectations were huge that season, but it didn't seem like it necessarily affected you guys. Obviously not down the stretch. Was part of it the fact that there were some of you guys doing it together for the first time?
I think so. We had a great mix of guys on that team. If you were to bake a cake with all the perfect ingredients, it was the 2009 Yankees. We had a nice mix of young guys and veterans, guys in their prime, guys with experience, guys that were hungry. We were very healthy. We got lucky. We had a couple injuries here and there, but it's not like we had to use 50 players all year. We basically had the same team, the same lineup every night. And there were high expectations, but we had a quiet confidence all year long that we knew if we played our game, we were going to be champions at the end.
When you get that first one, do you think, oh wait, this is something that could happen every year?
You do, but at the same time, I realized how hard it was. At the end of that run, you look back at winning some really close games in the playoffs, beating some really good teams in the playoffs, and three things have to happen in the playoffs. You have to be healthy, you have to be hot, and you have to be lucky. And those three things don't always converge at the same time. But luckily for us, we just had that nice run in '09.
From a personal standpoint, how would you describe your time with the Yankees?
It's tough. It was great. I wouldn't change anything for the world, but the last few years was a struggle. Physically it was really difficult, and I'd have loved to stay healthy. I'd have loved to have a couple more 150 game years and a couple more playoff runs. But you know what? This game's not easy. This game will chew you up if you let it. And I always tried to kind of keep my eye on the prize and keep my body healthy and try to do everything to stay on the field. But the last few years were tough. So I think the first 4 years were pretty incredible. World Series, 4 straight playoffs. We went to the ALCS 2 more times. We won a lot of games those first 4 years. The last 4 were more difficult, more like the real world, when not everything goes your way.
You mentioned the injuries over the last couple of years. Even last year, you came back with a vengeance and you said, I think I can play for a couple more years. At what point in time this season did you just say to yourself, did you have that aha moment that, you know what, I just can't do this anymore?
It was the end of April, early May when my neck started acting up. And, I went to the doctor and got a round of shots, and that really didn't work, and got another round of shots that helped. But, I was weak. I didn't have the bat speed. I just couldn't do what I did the year before, and it was just very frustrating. Then I hurt my knee and tear up some cartilage in my knee, and that just got me thinking that, you know what, it's something different every year. It's not like there's one thing that I have to kind of get over every year and then I'm fine. it's something different every year. So my body's telling me something. And I always said, you know what? I will play this game as long as I am healthy and in the middle of the lineup. I'll keep playing because it's fun when you're healthy and you're doing your thing, hitting 3, 4, 5. But I haven't been able to do that. I haven't been able to play 150 games in a long time. I haven't been able to, especially this year, have the power numbers that I want. And so I knew it was time.
You were emotional at that press conference when you announced that this would be it after this season. What made that such an emotional time for you?
My whole life I've been a baseball player. Ever since I can remember. My first memories are, in the backyard with a wiffle ball bat, playing wiffle ball with my dad, And everybody I've met during my life, everything that I've accomplished and everything I've experienced in my life is somehow connected to baseball. So when you put all that into perspective, you get emotional because, I'm a baseball player and this has been my life for a long time. And I know I'm saying goodbye and I just kind of appreciate all the experiences and all the relationships.
You mentioned a little Mark Teixeira in the backyard swinging off the tee. Could you have ever imagined that you'd be in this league for 14 years, hit 409 home runs, almost drive in 1,300 RBIs?
No way I could have ever expected that. No way that I ever dreamed that I'd had the success that I've had. When I was in high school, my goal was to play college baseball. I mean, it really was. By the time I was a senior, I was a top prospect, and then my aspirations were a little higher. They were like, hey, you know what, let's make it to the major leagues maybe. And then in college, I became a first-round pick, and it's like, okay, well, you need to be a really good player in the major leagues. But to have the career that I've had, and one of 5 switch hitters to hit 400 home runs, and all the RBIs, and winning a World Series, and it's been so incredible. I could have never dreamed of it.
You've talked about it in the past, but the 30 home run seasons, 100-plus RBIs, you've mentioned how special that was for you. What made that so special, that accomplishment?
When you look back at it, you realize how difficult it is. Number one, just to hit 30 homers and drive in 100. I mean, that's an accomplishment in its own right for a power hitter. And then to be able to stay healthy enough and consistent enough to do it for 8 straight years. When I was doing it, I didn't want to say I took it for granted, but I just said, okay, this is what I do. I play 150 games, I hit at least 30 and drive in at least 100, and that's who I am. And sprinkle in some Gold Gloves. But at the end of it, after I got hurt in 2012, and I was on pace, I was ready to go there for the 9th straight time.
Is it like, how did I do that for all those years?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All it takes is you pull your calf and you try to come back too soon and you pull it again. It's like, wait a second, I just missed a month, and now I can't get to that milestone. And it's like, man, that was really hard. That's hard to do it for 8 straight years. So when people ask me what my number one accomplishment individually is, that's what I'll say.
Spent time with 4 different teams. What do you remember, not only about first being drafted, but that first time when you made your major league debut?
Major league debut, I was scared out of my mind.
22 years old.
22 years old. I was in Los Angeles. We were playing the defending world champion Angels at the time. So it's like, how am I going to, I was at Georgia Tech 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. How am I going to, compete in the big leagues against the best of the best? And, I struggled for the first month and a half. And I thought I was going to get sent down probably once a week. Luckily, Buck Showalter, had a lot of faith in me. The Texas Rangers organization had a lot of faith in me. But I was scared that first game. And really the first 6 weeks, I didn't know if I was going to stick.
How'd you get through it?
You just keep working. In between the lines, it's still baseball. And you play the game, you react, you let your natural ability take over. But after the games, when you've gone 0 for 4 and you're looking around to wait for the GM to come tell you you're being sent down, or when you're at home and you're trying to get to sleep and you're thinking about all the things that you should be doing, or should I try this, should I try that? What I did in the minor leagues, is it not going to work in the big leagues? So all those emotions are running through your mind. And then once you finally have that success and that consistent success, you're like, okay, this is who I am, this is what I have to do.
You had a lot of it with the Rangers, which led to, when you were a free agent, a lot of people clearly interested. What kind of made you go towards the Yankees? There was some talk, maybe the Red Sox, some talks with some other teams. Why did you decide to come here?
Well, I didn't enjoy the free agent process. It was very stressful. There was a lot of that's out of your hands. Oh, I want to go play for this team. Well, they don't need you. Yeah. They don't need a first baseman.
Or they don't have the money, right?
Exactly. So there's a lot that's out of your control. So my wife and I sat down. I remember this very vividly. We were at dinner in Dallas. I lived in Dallas for 8 years, and in the off season, we were kind of sitting down and we were like talking about all the different options. And at the end of that dinner, we said, you know what? All things being equal, where would we like to be? And we said New York Yankees for a lot of reasons. The city, best city in the world. The Yankees organization, their dedication to winning, their commitment to excellence, and so. It worked out in the end. It's not the way it works for free agents most of the time, but the Yankees ended up making a great offer, and we jumped on it.
And they have had an impressive history as far as first basemen are concerned. Did you like the idea that you would be one of those guys in that conversation with some huge names?
Absolutely. I grew up a Don Mattingly guy. Even though I grew up in Baltimore, I was an Eddie Murray fan and a Cal Ripken fan, but there was something about Don Mattingly that just that drew me to him, and his sweet swing and the way he looked in the pinstripes, and just playing a great first base. I wasn't even a first baseman growing up. I played shortstop and third base all growing up, but I was a Mattingly guy, and kind of a couple guys after Mattingly to be the first baseman at Yankee Stadium. That's pretty special, and I don't take that for granted.
When did you first meet Donnie Baseball?
I met Donnie when I think it was like my second or third year in the big leagues. He was in Dallas he wasn't coaching at the time. I think he was there for some charity event or something, and we had lunch. And I was just in awe. And at the end of the lunch, it was like, you know what? He's just like me. He's a normal guy. He's a normal guy that just happens to play baseball. And so, we really got to know each other over the years and saw each other on the field, off the field. And I got to see him at the All-Star game last year, which was really cool. And just, we do share a special bond being Yankees first baseman.
Obviously, one of the guys that you looked up to as a kid, but who else has been instrumental throughout your career that allowed you to have so much success?
There's really two men that I look up to more than anyone in my life, and one's my dad for all the reasons that your dad should be the guy that you look up to. He was a great father. He was my best coach. He's my biggest fan, and still supports me just so much to this day. Number two is my high school principal, and he'll be there tomorrow and Sunday. He was my soccer coach. He was my Latin teacher. He was also my principal. I went through some things in high school where my mom had breast cancer, and a friend of mine was killed in a car accident, and he was a huge support for me and my friends. And just that kind of leadership from strong men in your life are so important, and it allows you to build the base, the foundation, to go on and live in the real world, because the real world is not easy. The baseball world is especially not easy. But having two guys like that in my life is very important.
What do they say about all this now? After all the success, after all the years you've played, what do they think of it all?
They're very proud, obviously, and they're going to miss watching me play. I mean, one thing my dad, he's like, you're going to get me that hit tape when you're done. I used to always, at the end of every season, they'd make me, start off as tapes, then it went to DVDs, and now they're probably thumb drives. But, I always gave him all of my hits during the season. And in the off season, because he couldn't watch baseball, he would watch that highlight video, once or twice a week just to get his baseball fix. And I think there's a hit video that's going to be every single hit in my career. It might take 20 hours.
Time. That's adorable, though,
yeah.
and he's going to watch it a lot.
He's going to watch it once a week for the rest of his life, and that's pretty cool.
That has to make you feel good.
Absolutely.
Now, your kids, I know they're still pretty young, but do they understand what's happening here? No more going to Yankee Stadium to watch Dad play?
Yeah, and I told them all year to be prepared for this, even though I didn't announce it until August. I told them to appreciate going to Yankee Stadium and going out onto the field for Family Day and playing in the cages after games, after day games, which we do a lot. They started getting it when I announced my retirement, and I said, all right, guys, this is how life's going to be. Next time we go to Yankee Stadium, we're sitting in the regular seats. We don't get to go play on the field after the game. We don't get to hang out in the clubhouse. And so they started appreciating it. But I think they're really excited about Dad being home, and I'm going to enjoy that time with them.
So what's next?
I have a lot of things on my plate. I'm one of those guys that always has to clear my schedule, not fill it. Mm-hmm. So there's business opportunities. I really want to stay involved in the community here in New York and back home in Connecticut. There's so many opportunities to give back, and I've taken so much from this game. I want to give back to my community for the rest of my life after baseball. And I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to travel. I'm going to play a lot of golf. I have a lot of books that I haven't read during my career. A lot of time spent on the beach to read some books and catch up on some of that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to it.
What are you going to miss most about coming here to Yankee Stadium every day?
I'm going to miss the crowd when good things happen. When I hit a big home run, when the team wins a big game, 50,000 people screaming for you is pretty neat, and it's not something that many people get to experience in this city and at Yankee Stadium. So I'm going to miss that. That's going to be pretty special.
And where do you rank that grand slam walk-off home run against the Red Sox, final week of your career?
It's a top 5 personal moment. I mean, I would say my first big league home run was very special. I had a home run in the All-Star game, my first All-Star game. Home run in a walk-off in the ALDS against the Twins was pretty neat. Home run in the World Series, and then this is probably 5. I'd probably put my 400th home run up there, but after this, the 400th home run doesn't compare. I was on the road, and hitting a walk-off grand slam against the Red Sox to stave off elimination, to live one more day for the season. That's something I'll always remember.